All right, let's talk about something we all have but hope we never need: car insurance. When you think about your insurer, what pops into your head first? Is it, I don't know, a funny lizard? A catchy jingle? Well, today, we're going to peel back that curtain of commercials and find out which companies actually have your back when things go wrong.
You know these, right? You're in good hands, like a good neighbor. You can probably finish the jingles in your sleep, and that's no accident. These slogans are everywhere, and they're designed to make you feel all warm and fuzzy, totally safe and protected. It's a massive, multi-billion-dollar effort to win you over. And when I say multi-billion, I mean it. Check this out. Almost $7 billion. That's how much auto insurers spent on advertising in 2023 alone. Just to put that in perspective, that's more than some of the biggest soda and beer companies combined. And all that cash is for one reason and one reason only: to make absolutely sure their name is the first one you think of. But here's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? What happens when you're actually in an accident? When you have to make that phone call you never wanted to make? Do all those promises from the commercials, do they actually hold up? Does that good neighbor actually show up?
Well, to get the real truth, we can't just listen to the ads. No, we've got to go to the people on the front lines, the real experts, the folks who have to deal with these insurance companies every single day when it's time to actually fix a car.
And that's where this comes in. This is the source for our whole explainer today, the Insurer Report Card from the Crash Network. Now, this isn't some fluffy customer satisfaction survey about how easy it was to buy a policy online. This thing is a deep dive that grades companies on the one thing that truly matters: how well do they handle your claim after a crash? And who's doing the grading? The real experts. We're talking about nearly 1,200 auto body shops all across the country. Think about it. These are the people who are on the phone, fighting with adjusters to get the right parts and to get quality repairs approved for you, their customer. They know exactly which companies are a dream to work with and which ones are a total nightmare. Okay, so let's get to the good stuff, the main event. How did those big-name insurers, the ones you see on TV every 5 minutes, actually score? Brace yourselves, because this is where things get, well, really interesting.
So you've got these 10 massive companies, right? They completely dominate the market. They collect over 3/4 of all the insurance money in the whole country. With that kind of market power, you think they'd be the best of the best, right? You'd expect straight A's, maybe a few B's. Well, let's see.
And here are the grades. Just take a look at this for a second. The highest grade among the 10 biggest insurance companies in America is a C+. A C+. Companies you see constantly like Progressive, Geico, State Farm, they're all hanging out in the C and C- territory. And then you get to the bottom, some of the most famous brands out there, USAA and Allstate, are pulling down a D+ and a D. Wow.
Let that really sink in. Out of the 10 companies that have the most customers and spend the most money telling you how great they are, not a single one got an A. Not one got a B. The best any of them could manage was a C+, basically average.
All right, so if the biggest names aren't the best, then who is? Let's flip this around. Let's look at the other end of the list and meet the companies that are actually on the A list. These are the insurers that body shops say really, truly deliver when it counts.
Now this is a totally different story. Look at the top, an A+ for North Carolina Farm Bureau. Now, you might not have heard of them unless you live there because they're a regional company. Then you've got Chubb, with a solid A, which tends to serve more affluent customers. And you see the pattern here, right? A lot of these A-listers, like Acuity and Erie Insurance, they're not giant national advertisers. They're regional. Maybe, just maybe, their business model is built more on local reputation than on a Super Bowl commercial.
So here it is, the big takeaway, laid out side by side. On one side, you've got the giants, huge TV ad budgets. They own the market, and they get, mediocre to poor grades when it's time to pay a claim. And on the other side, the A-listers. Barely any advertising, a much smaller piece of the pie, but they get excellent grades. It almost seems like the more a company spends on ads, the less happy the body shops are with their service.
Okay, so what are we supposed to do with all this information? How can you use this to make sure you don't end up with a D-grade disaster on your hands? Let's break down some real, practical steps you can take to find a better insurer.
Here's your game plan. It's pretty simple. First, and this is the big one, ignore the commercials. As we've just seen, they are not a good guide to quality. Second, ask a real expert. Seriously,
Call up a local independent body shop that you trust and just ask them, hey, who's good to work with? Who's a nightmare? Third, think small. Look into those smaller regional insurance companies in your state. And finally, when you're shopping around, remember this. The absolute rock-bottom cheapest price might end up costing you a whole lot more in headaches and frustration if you ever actually need to use it. And while you're doing your research, keep your eyes peeled for these red flags. If an insurer is really pushing you to use one of their preferred body shops, that's a warning sign. Those deals often help the insurer's bank account, not the quality of your car's repair. And of course, as we now know, if you're seeing their commercials every single commercial break, that might actually be a red flag, not a sign of quality.
So we'll leave you with this final thought. We all want to save a few bucks, right? Of course. But insurance is this weird product you buy and pray you never have to use. It's only when you're in a tough spot that you find out its real worth. So the next time you hear that catchy jingle, just ask yourself, is that promise backed up by actual performance? Or is it just another part of a nearly $7 billion marketing machine? The choice, as they say, is yours.